And I was thinking about the top 3 reasons why I left evangelical Christianity. Number 1 reason, I rejected the doctrine of original sin. Now, the problem here is that I was taught that humanity was fundamentally fallen. We came out of the womb as sinful babies, okay? We came out depraved and incapable of doing any genuine good apart from divine assistance, okay? Now, in some forms of evangelical theology, even infants, like I alluded to, are born guilty. Now, what do you do with that? Now, I've actually heard some Calvinists, and I used to hold this position myself years and years ago when I was in Calvinism. I've heard them actually just be honest logically and say, well, they go to hell if they die as a baby. I mean, if you're going to be logically consistent, that's what you have to say. Now, of course, some will go back to this, where David prayed over his child that had died and said, oh, I will go to him even though he won't come to me and all that. See, he's going to see him in heaven. So therefore, when babies die, even though they're born spiritually depraved and alienated from God and filthy, yet when they die, I guess be lucky enough to die at least, as an infant, they get a straight shot to heaven. Now, why is that? Oh, well, anyway, why I changed my mind. Well, the doctrine is commonly taught owes a tremendous amount to Augustine, okay? And his interpretations of Paul, which many times, frankly, were very horrible, okay, and just wrong. Augustine argued that all humanity is depraved because they inherited Adam's guilt in the fall. And we exist as massive perdition, in other words. Sounds encouraging, doesn't it? But earlier Christian thinkers disagreed with this. Augustinian doctrine has never been a monolithic doctrine, even though it may be dominant in Calvinist circles and other circles and evangelical circles today. A lot of what we believe, I say we, having come out of it, but a lot of what we believe as evangelicals traces back to Augustine instead of the Bible. Now, we can say, well, Augustine was just correctly interpreting the Bible. Well, that's just an assumption. That's just a claim. That's just a dogma. I mean, the fact of the matter is, Christians up until Augustine generally didn't hold the doctrine of original sin. They held differing doctrines over which they disagreed, but the dominant view was not original sin as Augustine taught it. I started asking myself, is this really in the Bible? And sure enough, if you go back and just have an honest reading at all of the relevant texts, Romans and Genesis and all those, Galatians about Abraham and so on and so forth. And then when Paul talks in 1 Corinthians about Adam, the first Adam, how the second Adam, came about to make everything, and a lot of those interpretations have been muddled and twisted, and because of his teachings. But the doctrine of original sin is not a biblical doctrine in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. It's just not. And it only is for you if you already come to the text assuming that that's the true and correct doctrine. And then the Bible will confirm whatever you want to believe. Okay? But for me, I just decided to be honest with the text and be honest with Christian history and realize that the doctrine of original sin has never been monolithic. And so I no longer believe that people are born inherently evil and that babies come out of the womb sinful. That's just ridiculous. I believe that human beings are inherently good, okay? And that we are capable of tremendous harm as well as tremendous good. And we see that every day. I see good in people every day. And I really don't have to look as hard as I used to when I used to believe in the doctrine of original sin, because what that does, not only did I view myself as guilty and dirty, inherently, apart from Jesus, but I had to view all of humanity that way. Well, you came out of the womb sinful and dirty. You came out of the womb sinful and dirty and perverse and gross and corrupt. And you and you and you. So I have to view everybody in that negative light. And for me, that caused me to want to be isolated, frankly. So we are unfinished, very flawed, developing creatures. But we are not worthless sinners awaiting rescue from our own nature that is designed by God. God made us how we are, okay? He didn't make us evil and sinful as babies.